Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. We're going to get started, so I'd like to welcome up Coachella Valley Water District Vice President Castulo Estrada.
Hey folks, welcome and thank you for being here today with us. If you would please join me, we're going to start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Para los que hablan español, bienvenidos y gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. I want to take a few moments to acknowledge and thank a few of our local elected officials that are here with us today. I have a list here that staff prepared, so if I miss any of you, I apologize. With us today is Congressman Raul Reese, Supervisor Perez, Mr. Vic Nguyen with the State of California. We have Glenn Miller with the City Council in India, also with the Senator's Office. We have Consuelo with the Senator's Office as well. We have Mr. Ruben Perez with the Assembly Member's Office. We have our directors, Director Powell, Director Bianco, and Director O'Dowd. And we have the Mayor of Coachella, also Chief of Staff for the Supervisor, Mr. Steven Hernandez. So, you know, I'm happy, I'm very proud to be here today. This is an important project for a lot of us. This project is going to have a real positive impact to the community here. A community of 136 households, that's 136 families. A community that for a long time has had to deal with inadequate infrastructure to deal with their sanitary needs. We're talking about outdated infrastructure as it relates to their septic tanks with open lagoons, and we know that that's not the best situation, I think, for any community. So we're here today to celebrate this almost $5 million project that's going to address this issue, that's going to provide the necessary infrastructure that I think all communities deserve. And with this project, it's going to improve the conditions of this community. It's going to improve, more importantly, the quality of life in this community for these 136 families. And I think that that's something that we should all be very proud of. En español, estoy feliz, estoy orgulloso, estoy muy contento de estar aquí con ustedes. Este proyecto es un proyecto muy importante para todos nosotros. Es un proyecto que va a tener un impacto verdadero, un impacto real, un impacto positivo para la comunidad. Una comunidad de 136 familias, de 136 hogares. Una comunidad que ha tenido que depender, yo pienso, por mucho tiempo con infraestructura que no es adecuada, ¿verdad? Con un sistema que ya tiene muchos años, con lagunas abiertas que yo me imagino tiene muchos problemas, y estamos aquí para celebrar este proyecto de casi $5 millones que va a construir la infraestructura necesaria para esta vecindad, que va a mejorar la calidad de vida y que le va a dar la infraestructura que esta comunidad se merece. Y yo pienso que todos tenemos que estar muy orgullosos de que este proyecto se está haciendo realidad. We all know that these projects are very complicated. They're very, very complicated. We've been working on them for a long time. I think at least I've been working on it for 4 years. I know that the work started way before I started working on it. And I want to thank all of you that are here today, because this project would not be possible without the collaboration and the involvement of all of you that are here today. And so I want to take a moment to thank the task force, to thank CVWD staff, to thank the Assembly Member's Office, its staff, the Congressman's Office, its staff, the Supervisor's Office, its staff, USDA, to thank the community, to thank the County of Riverside, and thank the community, and to thank our contractor, Jones Brothers. Jones Brothers, Mike Jones, we would have been able to do this without your participation. The reason I say that it takes a lot of collaboration, there's a lot of moving parts. As I said, we started working on this project a few years ago, and first we need to secure funding. It doesn't come from one place. We have to put different funding sources together, and they all have their own process of getting that funding secured. And I can think of two in this situation. We had funding from USDA through the federal government. We had funding from the state of California, and we participated, CVWD participated financially in this project as well. And so then you get the funding that you need put together, and then you got to go through the permitting process. And that takes time. And so I want to thank the County of Riverside and the Supervisor's Office for helping get that permitting process through. So, we understood, I think, we now understand how important collaboration is, and I think that's why about 2 years ago we started at CVWD what's called the Disadvantaged Infrastructure Task Force. And we got all these people together under one roof, all the folks that I just mentioned. And so we got them all together, and we said, okay, well, we need to figure out these issues, right? Because these projects, they require a lot of collaboration. So I want to thank all of you for that. Our next speaker is someone that I admire very much. He's been involved in this project from the very beginning. He's been crucial to the process. He helped to secure the first round of funding. The first round of funding that we had was about $2.5 million. And when that wasn't enough, he helped to secure another $610,000. So I want to thank him very much for that. And I want to, before I introduce him, just remind him of a story. And when I first got elected about 4 years ago, I got sworn in December 5th. And on that same day, we had the Coachella Christmas parade. And so I went to the Christmas parade, and he was there at the Christmas parade. And right before he took off, we kind of bumped into each other. And I remember the thing he said to me, and he probably doesn't remember, but I remember it. You just got elected, and Congressman tells you something, you remember. So he bumps into me and he says, hey, that St. Anthony's project, that project needs to get done. And I remember just looking at him and saying, I just said, okay. So I'm happy to be here today as we're celebrating the fact that this project is getting done. And with that, our Congressman, Dr. Raul Ruiz.
Thank you everybody for being here with this great celebration. Thank you, Castulo, for the introduction, for your hard work with CVWD, and for your dedication to bringing the Disadvantaged Communities Infrastructure Task Force to life. Thank you to Daniel Cardona with the USDA for the steadfast and stalwart support of this project. Thank you to Sergio Carranza with Pueblo Unido for your strong advocacy here with the folks. Thank you, Supervisor Perez. I know this has been an issue you've been working on for many, many years in terms of improving the living condition of the Polanco trailer parks and different places here. This project wasn't supposed to happen. This project was going to be, in fact, it was denied, wasn't it, Sergio? The USDA in the grant application said, according to their definition, that we weren't rural enough. They said that the Coachella Valley Water District was too big, didn't meet their underserved criteria. And I knew that oftentimes folks who don't really understand the living conditions of people living in rural areas need to be reminded of how people live. That oftentimes when you sit behind a desk with piles of papers and grant applications in an ivory tower, perhaps in Washington, D.C., that you don't really realize the true living conditions. So I called him, and I simply explained how important this was, and I told him about my story growing up in Coachella, in a rural area, and trailer parks, and how people live in the district, and they listened. They actually listened, and I said, well, I invite you to come here and tour the community. Remember that tour? I don't know if some of you were there, John. You spoke with the Undersecretary of the USDA in Rural Development. Remember that? And I said, I just want you to come and view the living conditions of the people in my district, so that you understand that there are children that are drinking arsenic from well waters, that there is above ground septic tanks that could easily be overflown with a few inches of rain. So you can understand that this is a public health threat, because we know that with exposed sewage, with no pavement on the roads, with no drainage system, with rain and the mosquitoes and all the public health that comes with that, when kids have to walk through that wet dirt and mud in order to go to the bus stop to go to school, that's a public health threat. That's a public health problem that we have, and nobody in America, whether you're here in eastern Riverside County or whether you're in Kentucky or North Dakota, nobody in America should live under those conditions. And she went back, spoke with USDA and other folks involved, and they reversed their decision. They reconsidered the application, and they awarded millions of dollars for this project. And it wasn't just for the 136 families here that will benefit. We envisioned this would be an extension of the system so that future communities can connect to this system and it could act like a hub. So from this system, we can move further east into other communities. Because let's face it, 136 families will benefit, but there are hundreds and hundreds of families still out here who still need clean water and sewage system. So we secured the funds, we celebrated, we had conversations with community members, and for many people they would have ended, but that's not how I work. Because you achieve results once this is completed. Once a family can open their faucet and have clean water. Once a family can go use their facilities and flush their toilets and see it go away. That's when the outcomes really happen. And so that's why we're here to celebrate these outcomes. When there were some funding gaps and some problems, we got on the phone to make sure that this was their priority, that they kept their eyes on the ball. And we secured another $610,000 when we needed it. And we're going to make sure this is completed. And you better believe I'll be keeping track of this project until January, when it's supposed to be completed, right, Sergio? In January. And know that it doesn't end here as well. There are more projects that we need to tackle. There's more need as the task force continues to remind everybody of the need out here, so that everybody can have access to clean water and being able to use a modern sewage infrastructure system. We're not asking for much. We're just asking for the basics of any humanitarian living condition in the greatest country ever known to mankind. That's all we're asking for. And we have everybody in the right places to make this happen. We have CVWD and their board. We have the contractors. We have folks in USDA. We have the supervisor, assemblyman. You have a congressman who's going to be focused to making sure that all the pieces fit well, and we complete this puzzle, and we make sure that we bring the resources that will bring dignity to life and respect all residents here in our community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Congressman. Our next speaker is also someone that I'm very honored to call my friend. I remember when he first became supervisor, one of the first things that I did automatically was write him a letter as a colleague. And I had Patty Reyes help me put that letter together. Patty Reyes is our former employer at CVWD. Also been very involved with the disadvantaged communities. But when the supervisor came on, we wrote a letter to him, and we explained that we had started a disadvantaged communities task force, and that these were the things that we were working on, and express some ideas of how we thought that his office could be helpful. And I want to thank him for taking on what we said very seriously. He got on it right away, and we were able to get through the permitting process. And so with that, our next speaker, our supervisor, Victor Manuel Perez.
Good morning, everyone. It's a beautiful morning today. Thank you, Costello, for your leadership as well. Appreciate the letter you wrote me, as well as your friendship. Appreciate your professionalism and also being my comrade in the struggle. We have a lot of work to do. And CVWD and Board of Trustees and staff, thank you as well. I appreciate your work that you've done, and over the course of years, dating back when I was in the State Assembly and working together. There's a lot of folks to say thank you to. Our Representative Raul Reese, my longtime friend, going back to high school. You know, we used to be in ASB together. He was always the president. I was the secretary, the treasurer, the director of assemblies. He was always the president. So, but thank you for your advocacy, and thank you for bringing those dollars. Our Senator Eduardo Garcia, represented here by Ruben Perez, let your boss know that we say thank you to him as well. Tell him that we love him. He cares, and he continues to do good work for us. He doesn't skip a beat. Pueblo Unido and its founder, Sergio. Ever since I've known you, going back to days, you know, and your advocacy efforts back then, you continue it to this day. And you've been persistent, you've been resilient, and no matter when the obstacles come at you, you've always overcome them. And so know that you have an ally right here to help you through that process as well. County of Riverside, my folks in the County of Riverside, thank you so much for all the good work you've done. Where's Monica? I thought I said, there she is. Thank you, Monica, and your team, and everyone else working with EDA and TLMA. Let them all know I say thank you. Y también la comunidad de nuestra gente aquí, de St. Anthony's, muchas gracias también. Y también hay que seguir abogando, ¿verdad? Porque la lucha no se acaba con este proyecto nada más. Tenemos muchos más proyectos alrededor de nosotros. You know, I think our congressman said it the best. I will add, though, that it's a beautiful morning today. And just recently we had a storm. And a few days ago we opened up a new park in North Shore. A park that was well-deserved, that the folks there have fought for so many years. And unfortunately, because of the storm, it was devastated. So it's almost like we got to start all over. But what was mentioned earlier by Costello, with all of us coming together, collaborating and figuring out funding sources and willing to work, we can fix that park. We can make it even better. It's just sad, you know. There's so many years of struggle for a new park, and I was there for the opening, and we had hundreds and hundreds of people there, and we had a chance to love that park for maybe a few hours until the storm came. But you know, we'll come together, and we'll come together with Desert Recreation District and make sure that we do what we need to in order to fix that park. And earlier today, we were having a housing summit. We know that affordable housing is an issue throughout our region, throughout the state of California for that matter, and throughout the county of Riverside. But we're having that housing summit because we know that folks are struggling to either buy a home or even to rent a place. And so whether it's a veteran or a farm worker, or a single mother, anyone in between, we need to do everything we can to build on those efforts, just like we are here today, and ensure that we have the infrastructure necessary to build upon the quality of life of our folks. So I appreciate the work of all our people that are here and the task force, and we also have the Mobile Home Housing Review Committee, in which we need to make some changes, quite frankly, within the County of Riverside. You know, the entitlement process is too cumbersome. We need to figure out how we can get those dollars and work with our congressman and work with our assembly member, work with our senator to make sure that we get those monies here, those grant dollars. And we also got to think about our permitting fees for our folks that live out here in our mobile homes. Perhaps they're too high. How can we work with our folks so that they can have at least some money in their pocket to take care of their families without having to pay high costs for permits? So know that we're working on these fronts, ladies and gentlemen, and I just want to say thank you for this opportunity. In the short time that I've been supervisor, it's been an honor. I'm blessed to be here. And I ask you all to continue to work with me, and let's make some good things happen for our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor. Our next speaker, I want to thank for his involvement in securing the grant funding, the portion of the grant funding from his agency. They helped us with about $740,000 for this project. I want to thank them for their involvement in this project, but not just for this project, but their office has been involved with similar projects since 2008, and we want to thank them for their work and their collaboration with our agency, and I'm sure and I'm hopeful that we will continue to work with their office for a many years to come. With that, ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker, Mr. Vic Nguyen, Chief, Southern Regional Office, California Department of Water Resources.
Good morning. I'm Vic Nguyen with the Department of Water Resources, Southern Region Office. We're based out of Glendale, California, and I'm happy to be here today on behalf of the department, and thanks for the invitation. Today's event serves as a great example how partnerships come together to help achieve sustainable water management, which includes the protection of groundwater quality and the management of our water resources. The department is pleased to be a part of this partnership on the St. Anthony Sewer Extension Project. The project is made possible with grant funds from Proposition 84, which provide financial assistance to help local agencies meet the water goals of the state. In 2014, the governor issued the California Water Action Plan to help the state achieve more resilient, more sustainable managing their supplies in a more sustainable manner, so that we can withstand the unforeseen pressures in the coming decades from climate change, droughts, natural hazards, increasing population, and aging infrastructure. As the majority of the state's water IRWM are managed at the local level, we have recognized that local and regional stakeholders and working with other partners, they're best suited and in the best positions to manage the local resources. And DWR continues to support IRWM as a means of empowering and encouraging local agencies, tribal agencies, and other stakeholders to work together towards holistic solutions on their regional water management challenges. The state has been working with Coachella Valley Water District and Pueblo Unido for over 4 years now to maximize the benefits of this project for the St. Anthony and Huerta Mobile Home Park community, so that they no longer have to rely on an outdated wastewater system. The St. Anthony Sewer Extension Project is critical to the health and safety of the 136 households within the mobile home park, which include up to 400 residents. If California is to bring sustainability to its water resources and meet growing demands, we must work across jurisdictions and balance water supply and demand. It is only by sharing knowledge and learning from our partners that we can make a resilient, impactful change. This approach is not a one-time activity, but more like a paradigm shift, a shift in culture in how we manage our water resources. California's water community has made great strides in addressing these challenges, and many of these achievements would not be made possible if not for the expertise, determination, and shared vision of our regional partners. As Chief of DWR's Southern Region Office, which I've been in the position for 3 months now, I know firsthand the importance of engaging and in collaborating with stakeholders to make real and lasting change, and encouraging a culture of smart water use and adaptive management. In conclusion, I would like to thank you for inviting me to be a part of this occasion and experience. And this project was made possible through strong partnerships between the government and local agencies to help meet the state's goal of achieving sustainable water management. And DWR success means local agency success and vice versa as well. And this project is a testament to our state's continued efforts toward revitalizing old and outdated infrastructure, while also ensuring that communities have access to safe and reliable water supplies. I wish everyone well in their endeavors, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nguyen. Our next speaker is someone that's been with us for a very, very, very long time, probably longer than a lot of us, and fighting these issues. Someone that I have known now for about 6 years, and he's fought the good fight, and he'll continue to fight it. And as the supervisor mentioned, he's been very resilient. He's been persistent. And I know that there's a lot of other regions across the state that wish they had someone like him, because they would be a lot more successful if they did. And so we're very lucky to have him here with us. I'm talking about the Executive Director of Pueblo Unido, Sergio Carranza.
Good morning. Thank you so much for your kind words. And that actually put more pressure on me to continue fighting with that, so that I actually have a really great message of encouragement. Honorable Congressman Ruiz, Honorable Assembly Member Garcia, Supervisor Manuel Perez, and Directors Castulo Estrada, John Powell, Anthony Bianco, and Patrick O'Dowd. On behalf of Pueblo Unido, CDC, and the communities that we represent, I thank you for your support and leadership on this endeavor. This contribution and this collaborative has made this project a reality. But of course, I would like to also thank the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the Department of Water Resources, and of course, the Coachella Valley Water District for their financial contributions and the technical assistance that we have received on this park. I'm very, very delighted to have arrived to this day. It has been several years of continued work and discussions with the community about the construction of this project. As stated before, these projects are not easy. Director Estrada just basically stated that are very complex. Nobody wants to touch these projects. It's too complicated, but that's the reality of our communities. That's the realities of the Polanco communities in the Eastern Coachella Valley. So the only way to overcome is to definitely to create a unified front and bring all the expertises that we have. And together with public policy, it is critical to actually start creating a new opportunity for the community. Today we come together to celebrate our collaboration and partnership. This effort is bringing a lot of improvements to St. Anthony Mobile Home Park and Huerta Mobile Home Park, which is a Polanco park right behind us. This family has been struggling with high water table here and poor percolation. So this is an incredible relief. Many years, the community told me that the smell from the lagoons has been unbearable. And we actually been working with the Water Resources Control Board as well to actually create some stabilization processes to minimize the issues impacting the proximity of the lagoons and the community. But I also want just to put a little bit of different perspective of this. And I would like to recognize today the work of La Unión Hace la Fuerza, which we have some members today here. This is a committee formed by leaders in the community from St. Anthony, and they started the work in 2007. They started the work through their leadership and involvement. And when Pueblo Unido come, we embrace their effort, and we adopt that initiative through our community-driven model that we have been practicing ever since Pueblo Unido was established. This model consists of having ongoing interaction, a lot of community organizing, a lot of planning, extensive strategic meetings. We have even invited both Supervisor Perez and Congressman Reese, together with Director Castro Estrada. They have come to meet the community and have their own direct experience about the pains and all the struggles that they have endured for the longest period of time. We're talking about probably more than 25 years of these conditions. So yes, I appreciate that they mentioned that I'm a resilient person, but let me tell you, the resilience was learned from the community. The community taught me to be resilient. And that is a commitment that inspired me to continue fighting for better conditions in the Eastern Coachella Valley. So the work of La Unión Hace la Fuerza is also a combination of effort with another group that is incredible, and it is La Unión de Polancos Association. This is another group that has been extremely involved in community involvement, and they are the one who established the priorities of water, sanitation, and stormwater control. These people, La Unión Hace la Fuerza, together with La Unión de Polancos, were the ones who were capable to memorialize all the priorities that we have in the Eastern Coachella Valley. In 2013, when we did the regional outreach, community outreach program, thanks to the support of the Department of Water Resources. That document is public right now and describes which priorities the community want in terms of infrastructure. The synergy that was formed by this group was greatly utilized by Alianza Coachella Valley, which is the former Building Healthy Communities group, through their Neighbor Action Team. The Neighbor Action Team was a forum where families actually come together and say, listen, we need to have a different mechanism so we can establish officially these priorities in the community in a local public level. And thanks to this forum, the Disadvantaged Communities Task Force was born, thanks to the leadership of Director Castro Estrada. After that, everything that you see here is happening. Now, back in 2013, Congressman Reese was already pushing for infrastructure project. He was a champion already. And I have a lot of interactions with him about the priorities. And I remember vividly when he told me, well, Sergio, I want to help you, but I need to know which projects are we talking about. I need to know what are the priorities of the community. But I didn't have a specific priorities because we don't have a community master plan. But today, I am very delighted to tell you, Congressman, that we do have a community master plan now that we can build on. And that's an incredible achievement. So thank you so much to the task force. Again, St. Anthony has become the embodiment of the infrastructure and housing challenges that we have in the Eastern Coachella Valley. But yes, it is the best example of collaboration and partnership that with this group, we now can prove that anything is possible. As you can notice here, we prepare a collage of gradual transformation that we have at the park that is definitely preparing a path towards a more bright future, which is in compliance with the local, state, and federal code compliances. We're working hard to achieve that goal. The new park now will have a vision for a new 134 units community park, and also a community facility with a child care facility. At the same time, St. Anthony also urged us, as Supervisor eloquently put it, to look at existing public policies. That's important. We cannot forget about public policies. Sometimes we have permitting processes that are not compatible. They are not adapting to the realities of our communities. We need to work hard. We also need to work in other public policies to make amendments to the programs, funding programs. The best example I can share here today is the passing of AB 2056, championed by Assemblymember Garcia. That is about mobile home. We introduced that bill last year to help families to apply for very low deferred loans, very low interest deferred loans, so they can apply to either replace their existing dilapidated mobile homes, but also to rehab existing mobile homes. That's an incredible opportunity that we have that they will be available as of January next year. So those are really great, important aspects that we need to continue working. But we have the infrastructure, we have the group, we have the talent, the expertise. So now we just need to be persistent and continue to have this consistent process so we can bring opportunities to the Eastern Coachella Valley. I would like to reiterate Pueblo Unido commitment to our farm workers communities and look forward to provide the expertise and recommendations that are based on community involvement and feedback, so we can bring new opportunities to improve the quality of life of our farm worker communities. Thank you very much for all your support.
Thank you, Sergio, for all your work. Folks, I think if you take anything away today, let it be that we're obviously not finished. The congressman said it, we're talking about 136 families right now, but there's a lot more families. And Sergio mentioned that the congressman said, well, what's the master plan? And I think Sergio was talking about the project that we're working on, where we've actually mapped out all the small water systems in the Eastern Coachella Valley. And there's over 100 of them. And a lot of those same communities have the same issue that this community has, where they have issues with their septic systems. And so we've lumped up these various communities into about 40-some projects. And each of these projects is made up of about 2 to 3, 4 or 5 individual communities. And we've prioritized these projects, and right now we're focusing on the top 2, and this is for water. And we're focusing on the top 2, and we're gonna get them through the preliminary engineering, we're gonna get them through the environmental documentation. I think we're even gonna get them through the application process so that we get the construction funding necessary in order to execute these projects. But again, that might just be one funding source. You know, we might have to go get other funding sources. And we might have to go through the exact same process that we've had to go through for this project. But I think that we find ourselves in a much better position now that we've all kind of worked together under one roof. We formed this task force. I think there's a lot that we've understood. There's a lot more collaboration. And so I think that the future is going to be a lot better. The process should be a lot simpler. And I want to thank all of you for being here today, for all your support, and just encourage you to not be afraid of these type of projects. Like Sergio mentioned, these projects nobody wants to touch, but they're real, and they're needed. The need is real. So with that, thank you, Supervisor. Thank you, Congressman. Thank you, Mr. Nguyen. Thank you, Sergio. Thank you, everybody.